Hi, I'm Stephan Papadakis with Papadakis Racing. We're here at our shop in Carson, California, where we just got back from our first drift event of the year in St. Louis. We drifted our 2020 GR Supra that we profiled the build of the entire engine and the whole chassis on our channel. I'll link to those videos in the description down below if you want to check them out. But for now, I want to show you guys how the whole weekend went down from practice all the way to the main event. Our first Formula Drift event was held at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. This track has a full-on NASCAR track, IndyCar, drag strip, and also hosts a Formula Drift event. The Supra is driven by Fredric Aasbo, the most winningest driver in Formula Drift, and the 2015 champion. Each run starts with warming up the tires, warming up the car, and they gave us this little box to do that in. Fredric has this way of warming up the tires in this small area where he understeers it a bunch, really cranks the wheel, and tries to scrub the front tires, at the same time doing a rear burnout to get the tires up to temp in order to make sure that the traction is there immediately when you leave the line. The way the schedule went was on Thursday we had practice all day. And during that day we're not only learning the track, but we're making sure to get the setup on the car right. There's a few things we want the car to do. We want to make sure that it's reliable, number one. Number two, we want to make sure that it drifts well. So drifting well is good sideways angle, good throttle response from the engine. We want the car easy for Fredric to drive, so he can place the car where he wants, not only on the lead runs, but also when he's chasing as well, needs to stay really close to that lead car. There's a drivers meeting each day where they discuss where they want the drivers to be on the track. Competition is set up as an eliminations bracket with the winner of each round advancing forward until you're left with just 2 drivers in the final. So we'll go through several runs of practice. After each session on the track, we'll bring the car back into the pits. We can plug in our laptop and get all of the data from the engine and even some of the suspension. Reviewing that data, we can look at the boost levels, the air-fuel mixture, any kind of knock, and all these different parameters in the engine and make sure that the tune-up on the engine is good. And then also talk to Fredric, the driver, to make sure that it's responding the way that he wants. And then we can make adjustments in between those rounds. Another big thing that will change are the suspension settings, especially on a new car like this, where it's a new chassis and we don't have a lot of data on it. Some of those settings are going to be with the shock damper settings, and another change will be from the spring rates, softer and stiffer spring. We have a huge selection of springs and a lot of different rates that we can change to adjust the balance of the car. Another big adjustment on the car is the rear sway bar. The sway bar, sometimes called the anti-roll bar, links the left and right side suspension with the bar that twists. And depending on the diameter of the bar, whether it's hollow or solid, will change the flex characteristics of that bar and change the rear handling. Typically, a stiffer bar will give you less rear grip, and a softer bar will give you more rear grip. We have a big selection of different sway bars, depending on what we're looking for the car to do. Typically, the lower tire pressure you run, the more grip you can get to a point. And the balance of that is, as you go with these lower tire pressures, the tire will move around a lot more. Drivers don't always like that feeling, because it can create a little bit of a delayed response from the car. We'll run the same front tires in the car all weekend, no problem. And the rear tires will typically last only about 2 runs. We have about 6 sets of rear wheels and tires. That way we always have a cycle going of new tires being put on the car and other sets of used tires being mounted by the Nitto folks. And I think that's something that's not always seen, are these people that work so hard in the background, like these guys that are mounting the tires all weekend long, how much they are really critical to the performance of the cars. Here you can see Mario blowing out a bunch of the burned off tire from the back of the car as we clean it at the end of the day. And as the tires wear down, they become about 4 pounds lighter each as the rubber gets worn. I love this clip because you can really see dynamically what's happening with the car around the track. So you can see Fredric's really on the throttle. He's coming out to what they call the clipping zone, where they want him to get close to the edge of the track, and he's just really staying on the throttle. As he exits the turn, he's setting up for what we call a transition. So right now he was turning right and he's going to start turning to the left. You can see him pull the handbrake a couple of times to slow the rear wheel speed down so it can have some traction and not over-rotate, and then back on the throttle again as he goes through the turn. And you can even see these 2 guys connect a little bit right there, and they hit, and it doesn't even faze them as they finish the course. But you can see why these cars also need to be built robust, because they do take hits from each other, and we have to make sure that they don't break in the middle of competition. So first round, we went up against the Corvette. Fredric did a great job of staying really close, and he was quite happy with the car, but we found that we wanted a little bit more speed. That way he could get closer to those cars and have more acceleration out of the turns to stay close. Slowly, each round, we started adding a little bit more grip by lowering the tire pressure a little bit, and then also softening up the rear suspension. Against the Mustang of Von Gittin, you can start seeing where we had some good speed advantage, while he was still able to keep the car quite sideways and have great drift. In that round, we again took the win. Against the old Mark IV Supra of Dan Burkett, Fredric again did a great job, and the car ran very well and took another round win. In the top 4, we went against Chris Forsberg, multi-time Formula Drift champion, and Fredric was really driving hard. We started really getting the car worked out well with a lot of good speed, but still able to have the car sideways. The car is accelerating out of the turn, trying to keep up with the one in front, and then as they get into this decelerating left-hand turn, they have to have the grip to slow down, stay close onto the door without crashing into the car in front of them. Another thing to notice is as these drivers are in the chase position, they have to deal with so much of this tire smoke. And there's moments of this run where they can't see anything. They're just a full whiteout. So they have to work with their muscle memory and remembering what's going on the course and eventually come out through that smoke and hopefully the right space. In the final, Fredric went against his teammate Ryan Turk. Again, you can see Fredric's dominance here with speed and being able to accelerate and really stay close to the Corolla. And in the chase run, the Corolla had an issue where he had a power steering failure in the second to last turn, wasn't able to finish, and that gave us the win.
Your winner here, round 1 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, behind the wheel of a new vehicle, Fredric the Norwegian Hammer Aasbo in the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Racing Toyota Supra.
Ready? Everyone look at me. What are you doing? Big smile. Look at me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't blink.
All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more, please consider subscribing. I want to thank everybody that helped with the build of the car, our partners, and the crew guys for the weekend. I'll see you in the next videos. Thanks for watching.